Well, let's begin this afternoon with something U.S. lawmakers are cooking up as we speak. It's a bill in the U.S. Senate called the National Defense Authorization Act and may be voted on as soon as tomorrow. But with most bills, it is chock full of flowery language about protecting the homeland and giving the military the tools they need to do their job. But the bill also does something unprecedented. It gives the president, this one and the next ones, the authority to indefinitely imprison people without charge or trial, both in other countries and here in the United States.
The discussion now is to suspend certain rights of due process is especially worrisome given that we are engaged in a war that appears to have no end. Rights given up now cannot expected to return. So we do well to contemplate the diminishment of due process, knowing that these rights that we give up now may never be restored. My well-intentioned colleagues' admonitions in defending provisions of this defense bill say that we should give up certain rights, the right to due process. Their legislation would arm the military with the authority to detain indefinitely, without due process or trial, people suspected of an association with terrorism. These would include American citizens apprehended on American soil. I want to repeat that. We are talking about people who are merely suspected of terrorism or suspected of committing a crime and have been judged by no court. We are talking about American citizens that could be taken from the United States and sent to a camp at Guantanamo Bay and held indefinitely. This should be alarming to everyone watching this proceeding today because it puts every single American citizen at risk. There is one thing and one thing only that is protecting American citizens, and that's our Constitution, the checks we put on government power. Should we err today and remove some of the most important checks on state power in the name of fighting terrorism, well, then the terrorists have won.
And when they say, "I want my lawyer," you tell them, "Shut up."
Someone missing fingers on their hands is a suspect, according to the Department of Justice. Someone who has guns, someone who has ammunition that is weatherproofed, someone who has more than 7 days of food in their house can be considered a potential terrorist. If you are suspected by these activities, do you want to have the government have the ability to send you to Guantanamo Bay for indefinite detention? A suspect. We're not talking about someone who has been tried and found guilty. Are you willing to sacrifice your freedom for liberty?
Big government Republicans and Democrats were busy shredding the last vestiges of the Constitution. Senators John McCain and Carl Levin want to enact a law that would declare the entire United States of America a battlefield for the military. They're talking about inserting the Army into domestic law enforcement. Senator Lindsey Graham, who supports this bill, says, quote, "The homeland is part of the battlefield, and people can be held without trial, whether an American citizen or not."
It seems as though our governing bodies have forgotten their place. As we speak, there is a document that could change the very freedom we hold so dear. If we do not act fast, this document will enable the government to imprison civilians with no due process, no evidence, and no lawyer for as long as they feel is necessary.